Well, I'm pretty excited about getting to cut into this Atlantic white cedar. This is a rough sawn material that is a full 1 inch by 8 inches. The boat calls for 1/2 inch planking. So I'm going to have to do some milling on this and mill it down to a 1/2 inch. One of the things that I realized was that my little surface planer probably is not going to be up to the task of milling almost 2,000 board feet of material. Fortunately, this past December, when I was at the hardwood lumber yard, they had a sale on jet machinery. So I was able to pick up a discontinued model of a 15-inch surface planer. So let's take a minute and I'll show you how I got that set up. My name is Bob Emser. I'm a sculptor and a boat builder. My sculptures have always been inspired by nautical and aeronautical imagery. In fact, sometimes people passing by my studio would ask if I'm building a boat. I've always enjoyed the artistry of wooden boats. It seems like I've been building boats for over 40 years, and now I'm building sculptures that float. Welcome to the art of boat building. The planer came with a 6-foot cord, so I just put on a 15-foot cord so it'd be a little easier to move it around, and it is 230 volts, so I'll need to run it over to the outlet. So that task is done. So the next part to getting the planer set up is to hook up the dust collection. So it comes with a 4-inch hood. Now my dust collection system is a 5-inch tube, so what I'm going to need to do is to figure out how to put a 4-inch pipe coming in here out on an angle, on about a 45-degree angle, so that the airflow is nice and smooth. So the first thing to do is to figure that out. So in order to figure out how to put that 4-inch pipe into the 5-inch pipe at an angle, I did a little drawing to lay out a pattern for the sheet metal. So what I did here was I drew a 5-inch diameter circle here to represent the existing pipe, which would be this, and then I drew a 4-inch pipe and put it at a 45-degree angle. I then took that and divided it into 6 equal sections on both sides and numbered them from 0 to 6 both ways. Then I projected these lines forward and did the same thing here. Now I only needed half the circle because basically I was able to start at 6 and then use the other ones down to 0 here. So then these points got projected up, and it then created this shape. So this is what it would look like if you were looking straight at it. I then took what the circumference of a 4-inch circle is, and if you remember the old high school algebra where circumference equals 2 pi r, so we've got a 4-inch circle, so that would be a 2-inch diameter. So then the circumference would be pi times 2 times 2, which would equal 12, just a little bit more than 12.5 inches, so 12.6 inches. I then went out here and plotted out 12.6 inches, and what these sections here were, which was just a hair over a half an inch, I then laid out those on each side. Then I projected these lines, and I drew one here so you could see. So this would be at station 1. They came over, that would be station 1 right here. So all of those lines got projected over, and I plotted them out on this curve. So now what all I need to do is to take those points and kind of connect them like so. And then do the other side. So now what I'll do is I'll cut this out, and then I'll have a pattern, and I'll see how that fits on there and see if I need to make any adjustments. I've got it together. See how well it fits on here. Yep, I think that'll work. So I think I want it to be out on an angle like this. So I'll, and then we'll mark out about where the, all right, so next thing is to cut this out. So the next thing to do is to install a blast gate. I had made these blast gates for the 5-inch ones. 5-inch ones are very hard to come by, and when you do, they're really expensive. However, you can get these at almost any big box store for, I think I paid like $4 for this. So it's certainly not worth my time to make a 4-inch one with this. It'd take me well over a couple of hours to do that. So blast gate goes on like so. Draw a couple pilot holes in there. Hose should fit right on here, like so. Now that we've got the machine all set up, let's get some cedar and see how it works. Well, that looks pretty good. So I think what we'll do is get set up and run our 14-footer through there. now that we have our board milled down to 1/2 inch, we can get the spiling batten up here off there and spile it on to our plank. One of the things that I had forgotten to do when I spiled the garboard was that I had forgotten to mark where the transom is. So I've done that, and I've used my spiling block in order to put some marks on here so that I have a better idea of where that ends up on the end near the transom. So the next thing to do is to get the batten off of here and put it onto the plank. First thing we want to do is to get the batten on here, positioned so that we'll have plenty of material both ways. So what I'm going to do is to go along with the divider. And remember, the divider is set up accordingly to how we did. So I've already got that set. So I'm just going to kind of come through here and check to make sure I have enough wood available. All right. And once we have that set, then we can tack it down to the plank. The next step is to go through and mark the frame stations with a straight edge. We need to mark these stations so that we have a point out here where we can put our divider to. After we get the station marks marked out, and we're ready to start spiling with our dividers. And remember that we can make sure that they're set properly by checking like so. So we can see that they're set right, and now we need to start spiling out like this. We touch where it meets the frame station and circle it. Do another one here. So we'll just continue doing this on down the plank, carefully making sure that we get everything lined up properly. All right, now we'll take our spiling block. We'll put that on here, line it up. This will be where I had marked the transom earlier. The last thing that we want to do is to mark off the hood end here. So we know that this pattern is exactly the shape of the garboard. So we can simply mark that out on both ends. All right. Now we can remove the spiling batten and start putting some nails in the spots where we've marked them. Our next step is to take some 3-penny finishing nails and put a nail at each spiled point here. So the next step is to take a marking batten on here and press it against those nails. Now it's important that these nails are perpendicular to the face here so that you get a good reading. And clamp those on there and put a clamp down here. And I'm going to just bring that around till it meets the curve, the line of the hood end batten. Then it's just a matter of taking a pencil and scribing along here. Now I'll continue to do this. I'll move the batten down, do the back end, and then do this end also. Well, we've got all of our lines scribed onto the plank, so now it's just a matter of cutting it out. Well, it's time to offer up this plank and see how we did. Well, it fits on there pretty good. There's I'd say about an 1/8 of an inch gap, so I'll need to go through and scribe here and get that to fit. But in the meantime, I'm going to leave it planked, or I'm going to leave it clamped on the boat so that the plank can kind of relax to that. So in the next episode, we will be finishing trimming it up, getting it fit, and attaching it, and also cutting the garboard for the other side. So, as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time on The Art of Boat Building.